that defines us as a people. We become as home. This becomes our home. So for us, community then represents that village in all the different essentials as for. It makes us feel safe and secure. It really helps us build social and economic capital. Social and economic capital. One thing I can tell you, being in government for almost 40 years, most of the immigrants, particularly Africans, don't need social handouts. All we need is an opportunity to participate in the economy. You give a French person from Saloum, from Ziganzor, an opportunity, never spoke English, within 3 months. We are doing this in my building. We took almost 3 months, 3/4 of the folks who never spoke English from Mauritania, from Senegal, from Gambia, from upriver, because they don't speak English there either. They are now speaking in English. And that's what we call opportunity. And many of those individuals who also do have their immigration status, which we help them with, they are now also working. They are they renting apartments, their kids are going to school, and they're beginning to have income. And the nice thing about it, 2 of them last week called me and wanted to send money back home. So I reached out to my Senegalese counterparts, the money transfer. I almost cried because I looked at them and I thought, in 1974, I was just like that too. So, but again, it is a community. So in my building, I built that community. And that community also depended on the community volunteering. So we're going to get back to it. What do you do in order to build your community? So to us, community is a very, very, very important concept. And what makes a good community? To us, inclusiveness, having fun community events. Like, I look forward, to be honest with you, to SenFest. Honestly. From the Seruba, to the Daga, the costumes, just the ambience. I sit there, I hear everything that's positive about the great nation of Senegal, where my parents come from. It is one of my best weekends, and I'm looking forward to Sunday, and I pray to Allah it doesn't get too hot, because the plaza gets extremely hot because of the pavement. Watching out for each other. It is very, very important. He called me the moment those new immigrants came in. What resources do you have? So what he was telling me, he's watching out for our people. So I don't have to worry much in government. But he's one of about 8 people who knew my office. So part of our community is really what makes a good community. Okay, the spirit of volunteerism. This is a concept many of us in Africa, we still have to learn here. Even the events out here, you could defray the cost of many of the things when many of us volunteer. Does it mean we don't do it? No. When I was a director in here, I helped institute the masjid downstairs with Imam Bu and Imam Sa. And most of what came were through volunteers, through community leaders. So we do have a spirit of community. Personally, I really don't think Americans or Europeans can or need to teach us anything about community. We as Africans, we have those elements. It is part of our survival, it is part of our history, it is part of our spirit, it is part of our being. Open-mindedness and positivity. So if you really look at what just happened in here, we're very open-minded. When the gentleman, my brother, says, we have to speak in Wolof. He didn't say we're in America, English, this is an English-only state. No. But number one, we acknowledge his need. We acknowledge his concern. And in respect, which is also part of our community, responded to him. And guess what Ben did? Ben shifted part of his speech to Wolof. So this is who we are as a community. And it is pleasant. And you don't find this many type of situations in Montgomery County. This is one of the richest counties in America. However, it is one of the most complex, the most bureaucratic governments you ever go in. So, however, we make it in Montgomery County. Being open-minded and positive, and then active charity giving. The masjid downstairs is a good example. Many of our brothers and sisters, either in all of the other masjids. My region, as a regional administrator for the East County, I have the Muslim Community Center. I have the Ishwa, which is the Islamic Society of West Africa. I have the Ahmadiyya Center. I have the Jafariya, which is the Sunni. And then I have the Dawoodiya, which is the Indian-Iranian version of Islam, which is in Ashti. So I have the largest masjids in communities. On any given Friday, there are more Muslims praying in my region than anywhere else in the state of Maryland. I could say that because the data could show that. So we do have a big charity fund. I know this because I work with a lot of imams. I work with many of our community leaders. But it's also having community rules and regulations. Now, this is very important. Our culture teaches us about rules and etiquette at a very young age. So we really don't have to worry, even though life is changing. Our second generation, third generation kids after us, it's a little bit different now. But I can tell you we have those elements. So how do we build a community from scratch? Number one, we have to start somewhere. We have to. The baby starts standing, takes one step. The whole idea about SenFest did not occur overnight because I have seen Ben and Modi, not only SenFest, because it started through the soccer programs, okay, in coordination with Coach Fonfo. And so slowly, the support from the Senegalese community is evolved into something big. And if you come now, SenFest is one of the largest African programs. I can tell because most of those are started here. Ethiopian, then you got the Panafest, then First Africa, which actually have died, and then you have other smaller programs. The Ivorians do their programs, but it's not as big now as SenFest. But in terms of the cultural diversity, and I'm glad you just included this symposium for that. Finding a home for your community. Most of the African programs or communities, that's a big challenge. You could have an organization, but you don't have a home, starting with a mailbox, starting with an office, okay, or starting with a phone number where everybody who wants to talk about, SenFest. Luckily now, we have social media, but it is very important. As we are looking at funding different organizations, we try to encourage even 3 or 4 to get together to find a home, a like shared space, in a building where we could sponsor the funding so that they could have a home, and that home identifies their presence in that community. Creating a community culture, that's what SenFest is doing. Not only creating, because our culture is already created. Our culture is already standing. It preceded colonialism. So it's a matter of reviving it. It's a matter of improving on it. It's a matter of transcending it within the Eurocentric environmental conditions and the challenges that most of us face in this country. Okay, and start inclusive connections. It is extremely important, and I'll say this to all our African leaders. We must reach beyond our own organizations to others. Senegal, like Ivory Coast, like Togo, Burkina, and other Francophone countries, they are independently, but each of those have 5 or 6 organizations. And when they come to my office looking for resources, say, we don't have resources for everybody, but how can we come together? The way we do that is we try to figure out what are our common interests. Where is our strength when we work together? Where do we get the best benefits for our communities, not necessarily on a national basis, but on a Pan-African basis? So this is where we are in Montgomery County right now. So that, because we don't have enough resources to spread to everybody. So, and that's the task that I'm given, to just making sure that we're doing that. And I'm very thankful to most organizations who are working with us on that. And then you also have to have leadership. It is important you have leadership. And but also, man, I'm a Fulani. We always say, leadership in the Fula culture is a little bit different. You also have to understand how we relate to cattle. You never see a Fula cattleman walking in front of the herd. A Fula leads from behind, or with a he was out here before everybody, putting the tables and the chairs, trying to make sure that I'm comfortable, other visitors are comfortable, welcoming everybody else. That's leadership. You want me to do the same thing, even though he came was eating his chicken, he didn't offer But anyway, it is very, very, very important that we establish leadership. And we must also support our leaders. Because if others don't see us support our leaders, they're not going to support the leader. If they see us fight with the leader, they're not going to respect the leader, nor are they going to respect us as a people. And that's the key thing. And if they see us fight, they see no support within the organization, particularly at the leadership level. When you apply for those resources, you can say, I'm not interested in it, because you have to put your act together first before we can invest taxpayers' dollars into that. But we also have to be prepared for the challenges along the way and for the long haul. There's a lot of challenges, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. That there are many organizations that are vying for the same thing. These programs we usually on a Saturday. Why? Because when I started it, I wanted to just make sure the inclusive aspect of our education for the county. Saturday is a very special policy-wise. We have to be trying internally to make sure that, well, if Saturday cannot accommodate all the festivals, then we still have to go on Sunday. So that means we cannot be additional competition. So that we're going to tell them when he applies to have a program here, no, I'm sorry, there's no Saturday between June to October. Then October, the ice will begins, and it's cold. So all those are policies that we put. So coming back to what Ben wanted to really focus on, the essential elements of a community: membership, connections at all levels, having influence. But that would mean when we have county meetings, elected officials, politicians have meetings. When there's an issue, the community must stand up. The leaders must stand up. If the Senegalese gets into problem with the police, it's in the media. And guess what happened during the Senegalese elections? There was a demonstration right here. That's what we're talking about. We have to have leadership to bring people together to talk about issues that impact our lives. So it's very, very important. Having friendships, and I talked about the leadership and the need for fulfillment. You're not going to participate as citizens if you don't feel fulfillment in what we do here. Again, I'll go back to my initial statement. It's a student of the village, Senor. I am the village, and the village is me. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to at least intellectually go back to the roots of my forefathers in Casamas, from Tambakunda to Zidata. And I say to you, Assalamu alaikum. And thank you very, very much for being here in this building, being part of Montgomery County, making our community fulfill its vision in promoting diversity. Because each and every one of you, all of us, add value to what makes Montgomery County the greatest county in the United States. Merci beaucoup.
Steve, you